Well, that was an inauspicious beginning. That's what happens when you make lots of changes prior to the show and you forget to tell the software, oh, yeah, that's right, switch to that camera. Hey, I'm Tom Sinclair here with Streaming Idiots, and boy, don't we prove the title of that show every single week. It's so much fun to come with you, to come to you today and, and sort of stumble and bumble through all this stuff. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes it seems like there are a lot of details, a lot of things to try to remember, or in my case, probably forget. But it's worth it. If you've got a passion for something and you want to share that with the world or just your neighborhood, streaming is the way to do it. And if you keep watching this show long enough, you'll see every way you shouldn't do it. That's what our idea is, that we want to make sure that you can see these are the ways not to do it. Don't change things before your show. Don't make Windows updates before your show. Don't update to new versions of the software you're using for streaming. In our case today, we're using vMix. Don't do that before the show. Don't move the cameras around your studio before the show. Don't rearrange your audio before the show. Don't install new software on your PC before a show. All of that we did today. It's amazing that we're on the air at all. But hey, we're here to prove the point that one guy with one PC can do one awesome broadcast. You got to make a lot of mistakes before you get to awesome. I don't think I've filled up my mistake level yet. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there based on the amount of mistakes I'm making, that's for sure. But hey, it's a lot of fun, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Full disclosure, this is a 30-minute long infomercial for all the products that we sell. So we'll just get that out of the way. If you haven't, visit our new store. Oh yeah, right there, EasternShoreBroadcasting.com. We're bringing the store online gradually and adding lots of new products. And the idea is that we're adding products that I have either personally tested or I know people that are using them. And so you're not just getting something that somebody's thrown out there because they want to sell. You're getting something that folks know something about. And then, of course, you'll get my cell phone number so you can call me, and my email address so you can email me if you have problems. That's the deal. That's the deal. It's how many times do you get a box? I got 4 boxes in today from Amazon. Well, they're out of reach. And I can't wait to try them. But if they don't work right, if something is glitchy, who do I call? Do I call Amazon? I don't think so. Do I call the manufacturer of the product? I don't think so. I'm just a little guy. They're not going to pay any attention to me. Well, they might, but they're not going to be as responsive. They're not going to be as responsive as a reseller. And that's what I'm trying to bring to the table. Somebody that doesn't just have the answers, but has the solutions. Doesn't just have the products, but has the know-how to make them work. So that's the infomercial. Visit the store, wherever it is, right there, and buy something. Oh, and I know, next week, if you're watching this live, next week I am going to give you a coupon that you can use in the store. And only for the folks that are watching live, because we're going to put it in the chat room. And you can put that coupon in. You can go shopping and see what you want, and it'll be a coupon that'll make it. Oh, Anderson's here. Welcome, Anderson. Glad to see you. And Andrew's here. Welcome, guys. All right. We've got a couple things that we want to cover today. I had hoped to cover 3 things, but I broke one of them in pre-show. No, I didn't break it. It just, with all the changes that I've made, something's not talking to something else, and I didn't have time to troubleshoot it all before the show. It may have been that software I installed. You never know. I'm really excited about our guest today. Oh, you didn't know we had a guest today? Yes, we have a guest today. Our guest today is Mr. Magewell Pro Capture Quad. Oh, yes, here he is. Magewell has redone their line of capture cards and gone to Gen 2. Ooh, Gen 2. And with Gen 2, they are going to, you can see number one big change is they've added this fan, at least on this model they have. This is the 4-port HDMI capture card, 1080p, 60 frames a second on 4 ports. Wow, wow. And as you can see, it fits into, I think that's a 4-lane PCIe card, PCIe slot. And it has some really cool features. Let me give you another view of it here. You can see. Let's don't use that one. Let's go to this one because this is much better. You can see that number one, the ports are marked. It's embedded into the little bracket on the end what port it is, and in this case HDMI N1. There it is, and right next to it is HDMI N2. And if we could see it in this shot, we would see, where is this shot? There it is, that all the ports would be individually numbered. And boy, that one's kind of a wacky shot. So let's try that one. This was cool. When I was plugging it in and kind of testing it this morning, I found out that each one of the ports has a little blue LED light in there. When you plug it in, the light glows solid. If you plug it in and you have a bad connection or your camera's not turned on, as it was in my case, it just sort of glows and then it goes out, and then it glows and then it goes out. And it's basically giving you a signal, hey, we're not getting a, it's giving you the signal that it's not getting a signal. So you can see I've got three cams plugged into it right now. I've got this main shot right here plugged into it, and this is my good old Canon HF R100, old-timey, but it's bringing in 1080, I think 1080i 5997, and then I've got another shot set up, which is this shot right here from my PTC cam. We'll back off a little bit on that shot so you can, there we go. So you can get an idea of what the studio looks like. I decided to go ahead and take the cam. The cam was on this tripod right here, and I said, there's no sense in having 2 close-up shots of me. Let's go ahead and put this cam across the room on top of a shelf, and you can, and now I can play with it a little bit and make things do what I want them to do. So I did that. And this is what I call the monster shot right here. Ooh, yes, that's a monster shot. But it does allow me some flexibility here in the studio. Now this, I think the camera is currently configured for 1080i, and it may be 5997. So we're bringing it in through the Magewell card, through the HDMI port, the exact same way. I've set up a third camera, and the third cam is a Canon Vixia HF R200 over to my left, so you can see my mess here on the desktop. And that cam is just mounted on a tripod, doesn't do anything, unless I go over and do it. And I think we're bringing it in also at 1080i 5997. So you get kind of a good feel of what different cameras look like in different locations. And the card, I think the card's doing great. I mean, I've never had an issue with a Magewell card. I've heard of a few people that have on occasion, and frankly, I think it's operator error. I think they just didn't know what they were doing. But don't tell them I said so. Please don't tell them I said so. Let's take some more looks at the card, which I think is really cool because I got all these neat pictures I wanted to share with the card. Depending on where you're putting it, you can screw it in. It's got the little screw holes on the end there, so that you can secure it in your PC, and you notice that little dial there, right to the right, top right corner of the fan, just to the left of the little mounting hole. That little dial tells the card that it is card number 1 or number 2 or number 3 in your PC. So you can tell your PC, you can tell the card, if you've got multiple cards, you can tell the card what card number it's going to be. So setting up multiple cards, the cards don't get confused. They don't all think they're card number 1 and fight for that driver. Now they know what number they are, and they wait in line very patiently like kindergartners, and they kind of do their deal the way they're supposed to. So I think this little guy is going to be a great replacement for the old one. The fan, I think, is going to help ensure that it lives a long and healthy life. We were chatting in pre-show, and Martin says he's got one, and that thankfully the fan is not very loud. But if the fan is too loud and you don't like it, unplug it. There's the plug right there. You probably void the warranty by doing that. But you do have the option to not have the fan go. I don't know if there's a way to control it with software or not. I haven't looked that far into it. It does. And let's go to the little diagram here. I got this little diagram for you. There you go. Each one of the channels, in addition to carrying video, each one of the channels also carries embedded HDMI audio. So if you've got audio on your camera, you can pick it up. You want to be a little cautious with that. At least I want to be a little cautious with that, because the first time I used, I think it was the Gen 1 card. I had one of those here in the studio for a little while, and was being sloppy with my installation and running it on vMix. And of course, vMix, when it picks up the camera, it also picks up the audio, and it asks you, if you know how to answer, if you know how to pay attention to the question, it asks you, do you want the audio from this feed, from this camera? Do you want the audio included when you cut to this camera? And like an idiot, I said yes. And so that was the day when we were getting 2 and 3 different audio sources all at the same time. Was pretty amazing, and pretty stupid on my part. The card does deinterlacing. It is compatible. I think they say on the website. Let me check here what its compatibility is with Windows 10. Tech specs. They say on their website. This is Magewell's website now. Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, and then a bunch of other Linux stuff that I don't understand. But it doesn't say version 10 yet. But I suspect that you're not going to have any problems with version 10. But I will confirm that. I will confirm that in the next by next week. By the next week, it has been tested with VLC, with Virtual Dub, OBS, XSplit, VidBlaster, vMix, Wirecast, Microsoft Media Encoder, and Adobe Flash Media Live Encoder, and I'm sure it will work with just about anything out there. Did have some conversation with the local Magewell folks here in the U.S. about Thunderbolt compatibility, and was it technically Thunderbolt aware? And they said technically they can't say, because apparently there's all sorts of testing that has to go on to be able to determine that and certify that it's Thunderbolt aware. And they're at this point haven't done the testing, so they can't say it for sure. But I'll be testing that, and hopefully we'll have more information for you guys next week. in addition to having a review of the ProCapture dual SDI card, which is going to be really cool because it's got the loopback feature on it too. Let's see. Power consumption, max power consumption, it says 15.9 watts. Wonder how much that is the fan. Operating temperature 0 to 40 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity 5% to 90%. So you can operate it outside. Here in the South, we get 100% humidity. My guess is it probably will do just fine with that, as long as we don't take it from an air-conditioned room straight outside into the humidity, that we let the card and the PC that it's in kind of acclimate and raise the temperature before we put it into all the humidity. Let's see what else. There is a lot of things that you can do with it that I have not even looked at in terms of tweaking different parts of it. So as time goes on, if I have time before this is a loaner from Magewell. If time goes on and I have time to take a look at more of that stuff, we will take a look at more of that stuff in order to see if it's really anything that's going to be beneficial. The info sheet here that I'm looking at says that it has support for input video resolutions up to 2048 by 2048. So it would be interesting to see if that's something that really means, is it going to be able to do quad or 4K rather? We will see. We will see. Actually, I won't see it all because I don't have any ability to do that. But it's got support for 4:2:0 8-bit output formats, 4:2:2 8-bit out formats, 4:4:4 8-bit output formats, 4:4:4, probably 4:4:4, I don't know how to read that stuff, 10-bit output formats, and more output formats are supported via the ProCapture SDK for DirectKS. So there's a bunch of stuff that I don't have a clue on. It has support for the extraction of 3D information and video timing information and Sony Canon DSLR time code. Wow, I'm impressed, and I don't even know what that means. That's pretty cool. I mean, not that I don't know what it means, but pretty cool that, that it has all those options with it. And if you know what those mean and they're important to you, then they're there. But I'll tell you, the world that I live in is a very simple world. I want to plug it in. I want to install the driver. I want to plug it in. I want to plug a camera into it, and I want it to work. That's the technical specs that I'm working with. Can I plug a camera into it, and will it work? And the answer is, this card is Tom Sinclair proof. It'll work even with him operating it, even with him installing it. And I think probably it took me a couple of tries this morning. I put the card in first. I didn't read the directions, and by all means, read the directions when the time comes, so you'll know. I put the card in first. I probably wasn't supposed to do that. And it came up on my PC and said, driver not recognized. So I said, oh, yeah, that's because I don't have a driver in there. And I thought, well, I have a driver, because I had the driver when I had the other Magewell 4-port HDMI capture card. And I realized, this is Gen 2. I bet it has you said it, a different driver. So I downloaded the different driver, fired it up, and first time I fired it up, my PC froze, and I said, you know what? Probably because I installed the card and plugged all the cameras into it. So I unplugged the cameras, restarted the PC, and verified that the driver was working, and then plugged the cameras in and have lived happily ever after. My only regret is that I didn't have a fourth camera today. I've loaned it out to the local video guys that do the football broadcasting here in Fairhope. And my regret is I don't have a fourth camera to show you today, to prove that all four cameras work beautifully. Now I'm thinking, okay, what kind of applications would this card work well in? I mean, we got to remember one of the limitations in my world is that it's HDMI. And that's a benefit too, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But the limitation with HDMI is not a reliable plug-in, unplug, plug-in, unplug, plug-in, unplug kind of device. I think it's intended to be plugged in and left in. So I think for a studio, it's going to be great. For a permanent installation in a church or in a community hall or some kind, an event hall where it's going to be there 24/7, if you're going to put it in an arena to broadcast sports, this will be great. This will be great. As long as it's out of the way, nobody's going to bump into it. It's not going to get knocked. It's not going to be plugged in and unplugged all the time. It's going to be perfect. The downside is, or the other downside, is HDMI cable length. 25 feet is about the best you're going to get a decent signal. Yeah, there's some tricks you can use with HDMI extenders, but you're going to spend some money if you want to do that. And that says, if you want to go 100 feet, then now you're really talking, let's do it SDI. And we had, I think we had the SDI, the Generation 1 4-port SDI card in here a couple of weeks back. And we're playing with that and having a lot of fun with that. Looking forward to seeing the Gen 2 SDI. I got the dual card, as I mentioned, not the quad. But I've got some SDI converters here, so I can convert the HDMIs over to SDI. And in fact, my good old, I was looking up on the shelf, my good old PTZ up there has got SDI and HDMI, so it's going to work with whatever we happen to be working with in the studio. So pluses and minuses to the whole HDMI concept, in that you can use these inexpensive consumer grade used, buy them off of eBay, Canon Vixias, all the way back to the Canon Vixia 1, the 100, which is what I'm using. I think they're up to the 600 now. So you can, this is me. This is the way I really look. This is me in the flesh. I could stand a bit of color correction because I think I'm a little darker tan than that, but that's okay. It's probably Charles's background. So anyway, that's the card. And Martin is correcting me; it doesn't do 4K resolution. So if you were counting on it doing 4K, it doesn't do 4K. Thank you for the clarification, Martin. Counting on him to keep me straight. And the card is, it might be in our store. I'm not sure. If not, I'll make sure it's in there tonight. And it's $8.99 retail. And I think we've got, if we haven't, I'll make sure I put them in there. We're also going to do some specials with it and bundle it with vMix. So if you're looking for kind of a complete solution, we'll have a bundle there where you can save $100 or so by buying the two of them together. And that'll be the HDMI version and the SDI version. So you've got both options there. We'll have those in the store. And then again, a reminder, next week, live, we're going to give you a discount code. So go look through the store, see what you want to buy, and then we'll have a discount code just for the live viewers next week. Also, do want to remind you, another little commercial, is if you'll sign up on the side of the sidebar over here for exclusive video content, we will also send you a different coupon for a different special coming up. So you want to keep an eye out on that. If you're not already signed up, please do that. And you can also subscribe to us on YouTube and we'll see if we can't figure out a way to distribute a code to our YouTube viewers. Yeah, oh, I already know how to do that. So good. Subscribe to YouTube, and you'll get a code. You can't stack the codes, but you can. We'll have different codes for different things at different times. Okay, so that was cool. That was cool. I think this card is going to do very well. I think it's going to solve lots of problems for lots of people, and I think if you get one, you're going to enjoy it and use it for a long, long time because the fan's going to help it live a long, long time. So that's going to be really cool. So I commend it to you highly. Let's switch gears for just a second, and let's go to where we're going to go. We are going to talk about the playlist in vMix. Playlist in vMix. So let me find some playlist. Oh yeah, here's my playlist page. And I need to do a desktop capture so you can see what I'm doing. So let me get a capture up here real quick. We're going to capture the desktop. That's the desktop capture. Pay no attention to what's going on over there. That's just going on. That's infinity. Pay attention to me over here. Directly below me, at the very bottom middle of the screen, is the playlist feature. And I'm going to run my mouse over it. You can see it kind of flashing right there. And I've also added, let's see, I've added a MP4, a JPEG, a WMV, and another JPEG. So we'll click the Configure Playlist list of inputs. Let's just get all that out of the way there. And we'll just use a default. And so let's put in our little list there. So we've got the hockey puck. We'll put that in. We've got our penguin JPG. We'll put that in. We've got our WMV. We'll put that in. And then we've got our, I think that's the one right there. Let's take a look. Is that the name of it? Yeah, 221 inside. All right, so we've got 4 files there. And one of them's an MP4, one of them's a JPEG, one of them's a WMV, and one of them's another JPEG. Let's take this WP and we double click it, and we're going to select the duration of it. In fact, we're going to start a starting point. We're going to say let it start 10 seconds in. And we want it to play for 10 seconds. And then at the end of 10 seconds, it's going to cut and go to the next file. So our penguin file, let's say that's going to play for 5 seconds. That'll work. Then we've got an intro file. Let's let that one start about 15 seconds in and play for 10 seconds. And then our JPEG is going to play for 5 seconds. And then let's have this end with my main cam. So it'll come back to me when it's done. All right. And we're not going to loop it. We're not going to begin from selected item. We're not going to clear overlays. We're not going to do manual mode. We're just going to close it. And so it's going to be there. So when I hit playlist right down here at the bottom, it should, if we've done it right, it should playlist and start out with our hockey puck video. So let's try it. Playlist, go. Here's our hockey puck. It started kind of part of the way in, and now it's going to convert over to our penguins for 5 seconds. And after the penguins are gone, it's going to go to our intro. That's an old intro from VidBlaster Guy. And then after that, it's going to go to our Majorel card. And then after that, it'll come back to me. So there you go. That's a playlist. It's that simple. Now, I have tried this with files that were bad files, and they didn't work. So if you encounter a problem with playlist, and for some reason it just doesn't work the way you think, I mean, it just bombs out, or for some reason, check your files, check them one by one, and find the file that is problematic. Sometimes it can be a video file, sometimes it can be an image file. Let's go take another look at that. And before we do that, let's shift back to desktop capture so you can see. There we go. So let's shift back, and we see. Let's put in a transition from the hockey puck to the penguins. And let's say that we're going to zoom, and 500 should be enough. So we'll go there, and then we're going to go a transition from the penguins to the intro, and that's going to be a fly rotate. So you can put in the transitions here, and we'll just start it from right here. So we'll start and say go. So now we've got the hockey puck, then will come the penguins. You notice how they kind of rotated in, and then will come the Vid Blaster guy, and then will come the Magewell card, and after the Magewell card will come me. There we go. And so we'll shift back to this, and that's our playlist. It's red down here. You notice how it just turned gray. It was red because it was my camera that had a duration of 5 seconds, but it stays on the last thing that you do. So you can loop it, you can select, we can start, for example, with that one. So we'll begin from that one. So we'll start there, and it'll start at that card, and then it'll come back to me in just a second. There we go. And then in 4, 3, 2, 1, the little red light goes out. The playlist is complete. We're back. So if you're doing ads and you're doing a whole series of ads, remember to use the last camera or whatever shot you want to return to. Maybe it's kind of your main shot of the field or whatever like that. Remember to do that. So that's as simple as it gets, I think. What do you think? Want to hear what you think. All right, so next Wednesday will be, what is the next Wednesday? October 7th, and we will have a special discount code that we'll put in chat. So if you want to watch live and and actually we leave the chat up. We leave the chat up all week. So you can go back and retrieve it after the show. If you want to watch the show on YouTube and realize, oh yeah, that's right, they have that chat code. Go to the chat. It'll be there, and you'll have the code. And I know if there's some things that you'd like us to review on the show, or actually put in the store, so that you can buy from us and then be able to hound us on how to make it work the way you want it to work, of which we're happy to do. Let me know, and we'll be happy to take a look at it. We'll contact the manufacturer and try to get some versions in to play with. We've got lots of stuff stacked up here to play with. It's just so much fun, so much fun. Anyway, I'm Tom Sinclair, the Streaming Idiot, coming to you from Streaming Idiots at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Glad to have you with us today, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.